Tens of thousands of students enter university each year with all different kinds of expectations. Maybe your idea of a university looks something like this, or perhaps something like this. No matter what image you have, when entering university, students hear all kinds of myths about what to expect. Those myths include topics ranging from social life to financial situations. After researching common myths, I chose 5 which I believe to be the most prominent and interesting. So to find out whether or not these myths are true, I'm setting out to 2 universities to interview 6 different senior university students to get their opinion, tips, and experiences involving each myth. The first myth is that you'll waste tons of money on textbooks. Let's see what the students have to say.
It's definitely a myth that you have to spend all your money on textbooks.
It's up to you whether you want to spend more or make the time to find cheaper ones. And it's also a smart idea to sell the books as well so you get your money back.
Textbooks were way more expensive than I actually thought they were going to be, because I didn't have anybody telling me that they're supposed to be incredibly expensive, so it caught me off guard.
I was probably pretty naive in first year about the textbook situation. I think I spent a few $100s on textbooks, which wasn't very smart.
You can buy them straight from the bookstore, which are going to be more expensive. At U of T, there's also a discount bookstore.
First year going in, I definitely spent a lot of money, over $1,000 buying my textbooks. Definitely, you don't have to buy them new. They're always crazy expensive when they're new. Found going for older editions also helped if they were still relevant. In Guelph, there's a website called The Canon where you can find used textbooks from other students. It's half or less the price of a new textbook.
A website that you can use called Tusby. .com or something, and people can post old textbooks, and they post their email, and then you can email them and you can get them for a discount price.
I guess you can get in touch with people in your upper year. They would all have the textbooks you need because they all took those courses, and chances are they still have their textbooks.
I would talk to some upper years about how you can get different discount books, because you don't have to be spending a fortune on them.
Don't buy them if you don't have to. Go to a class, check out to see if you need the book before you buy it, because sometimes you're just not going to need it. If it comes with a course manual, don't get the textbook, because the course manual has everything you need to know in it.
The second myth is that professors are difficult to talk to and seem unapproachable.
I have always been pretty intimidated when it comes to professors.
It's not hard and intimidating to talk to profs.
I've never met a professor that's not willing to speak to their students. So the only thing to get over is actually getting up to talk to them.
They're intimidating for a reason. They're super intelligent, and you'll look up to quite a few of them.
There's so many kids, being in a science program, in chemistry, there's 700 kids in a class, so it's hard to get one-on-one with the prof.
It's like a competition to get to the front of class after class, but you go to their office hours and you can just talk to them one-on-one.
As you get into higher years, you get smaller classes, and it becomes a lot easier to talk to them.
It's a really good idea to talk to your profs or TAs to figure out what they're looking for if you don't understand something, especially to the people that are marking your papers or your assignments.
I definitely found that some of my favorite classes were the ones where I had a better relationship with my prof, and I definitely found I did a lot better.
You can get better marks because you can understand what they want.
It's really not that big a deal. Most of them are really easygoing and nice.
They do like your questions. They do want to talk to you. They're interested in what students have to say.
The third myth is that university exams are much more difficult compared to high school exams.
So exams can be pretty tough.
Exams are hard.
Your worst year is probably going to be your first year.
They're much harder than in high school, in my opinion.
It's not that bad.
And compared to high school, they're way harder, so be prepared.
Studying all day, and it's usually a pretty stressful time, but you get used to it after a couple of years of university.
It's basically the same drill, and it gets easier as you do them.
If I have 3 whole days to study for a test beforehand, then I'll do pretty well.
You can be super stressed about it and let it affect you, or just like take it a step at a time and you'll be fine.
It's definitely better to start studying earlier, like try to do maybe a week earlier.
I just try to memorize everything, but that's not how you do it.
It's all about time management, figuring out what works for you in terms of studying. Are you a daytime studier, or like you like to study at night, or you good at the library, you good at home, just figure out where you study best.
You kind of like have to learn how to approach the exams. They're a lot different than high school finals.
The fourth myth is that university is much different than high school in terms of atmosphere and difficulty.
In terms of the atmosphere, I guess it depends on what kind of high school you went to. I went to a small high school, so it was really different.
High school is, more close-knit. You know everyone around you. You see your familiar faces in the halls.
People in first year are 1 year older than people in grade 12. There's no maturity difference whatsoever.
Since you're all at university, you all want to seek a higher education, so you have similar values in that sense.
You're a lot more independent. You're going to classes on your own on the other side of campus with 500 people that you don't know, which can be intimidating, but it's also how you can make friends.
It's a lot busier. You're exposed to a lot more people because just the population of the university is so much bigger than what your high school was.
In university, you definitely are more independent, and in order to feel a part of it, in order to really thrive in it and enjoy it, you should find a community within it that works for you.
It was a lot easier to just go up to people and meet them and become friends. They were just a lot less judgmental overall.
It's probably not as difficult as you're going to expect it to be. People say it's so hard, but if you work, you're probably good to go.
The hardest thing and the most different thing was you just have to work more.
It's usually the amount of work that's different, but not the actual difficulty of the work. You don't have to be smarter, but you have to work harder.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot less break time. Like I remember in high school there'd be like weeks where you wouldn't really have any homework or work to do, but university is kind of be lucky to have a day where you don't have to really do anything.
The fifth and final myth is that finding jobs during and after university are hard to get.
If you can work part-time during your studies, that's great.
It's not hard to get a job in university, but you have to make an effort, and it's hard to work while you're at school.
You have to be willing to do anything, I guess. Just make as much money as you can during summers and all that, because you're going to actually need the money. Don't spend your OSAP like an idiot, because a lot of people do that.
I'm in a co-op program at Guelph, and I love it. I would recommend it to anyone who has the potential of being in co-op.
I went through the co-op program, so that helped me gain a lot of experience applying through jobs and going through the whole application process.
The amount of effort that you put into getting good summer jobs that are kind of similar to something in your field, that'll make a big difference when you graduate and finding a job.
I'm in my fourth co-op term right now, and it just gives you the opportunity to find a really cool job in your field.
I would also say that definitely every summer make sure you're getting a good summer job and try to, up it each time. Don't just always go back to like working at, I don't know, like Tim Hortons or somewhere. Like try to do something in your field that you'll be able to use as a reference after.
If you aren't in co-op, I highly encourage you to try and find a job in your field that you're interested in. It'll totally make it easier for you when you graduate to find a full-time job.
At U of T, they have this thing called a work-study program, and probably at other places or at other universities as well, where you just have to be enrolled in a minimum amount of courses, and you can sign up through the university or apply to these jobs within the university, and you can work on campus while studying, and they really are flexible with your heavy course load.
At Guelph and probably at other universities, there should be career counseling where you can get your resume and cover letter checked. You can do mock interviews and just practice those skills on getting jobs.
The job market now is going to be different than a job market 4 years from now, so I wouldn't panic. Things might change.
So there you have it, 6 different students giving their opinion on each myth. Concluding my search for answers, I would say that each myth could be true or false, depending on how hard you're willing to work towards a goal and how open you are in trying new things. If there were 2 pieces of advice that I would take away from this experience, it's 1, to ask upper years advice on tricks they've learned since they've been through it once or more already, and 2, to make sure you're working hard to finish with good grades and with relevant job experience to ensure a greater chance of employment after finishing university.